guys. Fantastic evening. We got so many special guests. It's not funny. You can see it right now. Hup, hup. Check it out. Hup, peanuts. Hup. Tonight's show's brought to you by Logistics International, PNFF Logistics. There's only one football, and Sea City Lawyers are lawyers that come to you right now. Hey! The cup of life, this is the one. Now is the time, don't ever stop. We should've known, gotta be strong. We should've known, right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. No one can hold you back if you really want it. I see it in your eyes, you want the cup of life. Not the days, yeah, you're gonna get it. Do you really want it? Tell me right now, guys. Everybody tell me. Les, do you want it? Here we go. Ali, Ali, Ali. Go, go. We are the people. We are the passion. We're going back in history today. Unbelievable, guys. Welcome everyone right now to Footballers. It's live right now all over the world. Welcome everyone right now. Thank you for joining us. I have to start with this man here. Les Shieflug, Socceroo coach. And of course, don't forget Gerry Gomez, Socceroo. Harry Michaels, entrepreneur. And of course, Kris. I forgot his name right now, guys. Here we go. Kris. Welcome, Kris. Kenny Wilson. How many people? Carlos Beerley, guys. Welcome all of you tonight, guys, to Footballers. I tell you what, mate. I tell you what, Les. It's your night tonight, Les. Whatever you want to say, you say it. And I tell you what, Les, can you hear me there?
You want me to say something?
Of course. Les is on his best. Les is on his best tonight, guys. Let me tell you right now, guys. We got Socceroo coach Les Shieflug tonight, guys. I tell you what, this is an amazing show today, and I tell you why. Because we're going back in history with so many different Socceroos. In the last few weeks, it's been amazing with all these Socceroo reunions, but tonight it's a massive reunion. Gerry, how are you, Gerry?
I'm good.
Fantastic to have you on.
Looking forward to this.
And of course, a different generation of Kris. You're a different two generations of Socceroos here right now. And of course, that man here, Les Shieflug coached you, brother. And how many generations of Socceroos have you coached, Les? I have something to read out to you in a minute, Les. And believe me, this is a very long list. I've done my research, like you said, Coach. You told me to do it this afternoon. Otherwise, I won't be telling you questions. That's what you said to me. So let me read this to you guys. Oh my God, the list is absolutely amazing. If I was to tell you what sort of list this is, if I can say this, absolutely amazing from Les here right now. Of course, I'm going to get that stuff here from Les. Of course, Sydney, Prague from 1957-68. Sydney, Prague, 1969, Marconi, 1971, Canterbury, Marrickville. That's where he played, guys. And of course, he also international career for the Socceroos, and of course, that sort of stuff too, guys. And I tell you what, guys, Marconi, Fairfield, Canterbury, Marrickville, South Coast United. I could keep going forever. Western Suburbs. I'm wearing the Western Suburbs shirt that you wear, Les, too. There you go. I've got that tonight with me, but I could go on forever. Les, congratulations on your career. You've done so much for the game. They call you the godfather of football. Is that right? The godfather of football. Les?
They called me many other things. Even the Greeks, when I was at Canterbury, they gave me five hints salute.
Really?
We win 5-0 all the time. See?
Oh my God, Les! I tell you, we met in Townsville a long time ago. We met in Townsville in 1996 when you were taking the boys to, of course, with Eddie Thompson to Atlanta for the Olyroos. You took them that day. What an amazing time to meet you with the boys there and everything. I got so many stories I can't tell you about them because they used to get stuck into me. Don't say nothing to Les or Tomo, please, Harry. But I won't go now, Kris, yourself, you played in that game of course, in Portugal under this coach, mate. What success did you have under Les? Amazing.
Yeah, definitely. We had first team to make the semi-finals and third place the under 20 World Youth Cup. So it's fantastic achievement, and yeah, we played with some unbelievable players in that.
Mate, and I've spoken to some of the boys too as well. George Soros was part of that team, and he spoke to me last year about that as well. George is an amazing player. Also played it down at Sydney Olympic as well, which Harry was at the time was the owner as well. Harry, and of course you're on tonight. Of course, a very historical evening talking about Les's career. Now you know Les's career for a long time, Harry. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, I was very fortunate to work with Les and delayed Eddie Thompson together with Frank Arrow. At the time that they were riding very high, I came in to produce and direct the international games. And Les and I had a fantastic time. He was always carrying on with me. I would be in the van and I'd be directing, and Les at the time, he loved his cigarette. And I was sending a camera around to get some close-ups of them. And let's send a message to the van and say, just tell that bloody Harry Michaels, if he keeps insisting of getting close-ups of me smoking, you know what I'm going to do with that camera. And I know where he is. Hey, Les, do you want to pick on this?
Yes, I can come in on there because there was a sign behind my back. I wasn't sponsored by Quit Smoking, but the federation was sponsored by Quit Smoking.
Oh my God!
So I didn't get any money. I can smoke, but I didn't want you to show me up. So you did, and I gave you the Greek salute. I said, "Don't do it again because I'll go after you." These were the good times, but Harry, what I'm trying to say to you before, you said you did your homework. You forgot about my career. 14 qualified for 14 World Cups with FIFA tournaments, 3 Olympic Games, captain of Australia, right?
Yes.
And coached under Terry Venables, Rudy Guttenberg,
yes,
Eddie Thompson, never Frank Arrow.
I saw you on the bench, if I may remember correctly.
No, that was a different bench. It was a naughty bench. I've never been with Frank Arrow. That's why
I apologize, Les. I really apologize.
Harry, that's why I didn't go on, because I was national coach, and I went to Mexico with under 20s. And I tried to get Eddie Thompson to be in charge of the national team while I was away. But I was overruled by the committee, and when I come back 4 weeks later on, there was another tournament from where 2 teams came from England, and I wanted Eddie Thompson again, and I said no. So I said, then you give it to Frank Arrow. Our job, and I started using it. That's the only reason, because I didn't believe that we are on the same track, different philosophy. And how can I say, I preferred Eddie Thompson. He was down to earth, a nice gentleman and a good coach.
But you were also with Peter Venables
Terry.
for Australia run, yes?
I was with Terry Venables. We got into the final in Saudi Arabia. We lost because Viduka got sent off in the 10th minute. We had a game against Brazil before, we had a draw against them, and then in the final we lost 6-1 because after 10 minutes Viduka was sent off. So 14 qualifiers, nobody has done it in the world. 15 Oceania championships. And they used to say to me, I'm the godfather of youth football. What Harry didn't tell you, I wanted promotion with Marconi from 2nd division to 1st division. The same with Blacktown. Brisbane Lions, I got him into the NSL. Canterbury Miracle was only 3 weeks there because they didn't pay me, so I left them early.
So let me just bring Gerry on. Gerry, you were coached by Les also, is that right? At the time, he was assistant coach. How did you feel being under Les there? Of course, an amazing coach for Australia. He's still probably doing a few little things around talks and things. How do you feel having Les as your coach?
Oh, it's a privilege to be coached by Les. I was part of the Australian youth team in 81. Just arrived to this beautiful country. But I was with not just Les as well, but Raul Blanco was there, and Frank Harris and Eddie Thompson. All of them, very, very different, I think, but very good coaches, very demanded a lot from all of us, and we learned a lot from each one of them. So it's privileged, like I said, to be coached by Les, and it's no surprise that he's done so well for Australia.
Now, let me bring Carlos on. Carlos, you've got a few questions for Les and the boys. What's happened to him? His voice is gone. Here we go. Carlos,
Don't be scared, Carlos. Don't
we
be
can't
scared.
hear you, Carlos, at all. We can't hear you. I think it's your system. You have to pull it out. I think
Now?
that's better now. We can hear. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask Les, which coach had the biggest inspire you to become the coach that you became? Because you had some amazing coaches while you were playing, so which one had the biggest influence in deciding, yes, I want to become a coach, and this is the ideas or the example I'm taking from this person into me?
I go a bit further. When I finished playing soccer, more than football, I had Joe Rangos as a coach, ex-Czechoslovakian international, also coach. But I went every year overseas to Germany, to Scotland. I was on the Jock's team for 10 days. In Germany, the following year, Udo Lattek, Detmar Kramer. And I learned something from everyone, right? Because I was hungry to learn from those people. And every time I come back from overseas, I thought we were on the right level. The only thing different was they had better players, more experienced players, and a better competition. That was the only difference.
And of course, Kris, you. How long were you with the coach here? How long were you with him? Now there was other things. You guys went to different tournaments and everything, but of course that one in Portugal. But which other ones stand out the most with you?
Probably like I said, had the World Cup qualifiers in Fiji.
Yes.
That was obviously a few tournaments before that, but yeah, the main one Portugal, and then after that I had Les in the Socceroos in my first when we went to South Africa, so
Gee.
it was quite a good experience for me. Obviously Ed and Tomo and I was in there too, so which was good.
I want to bring on Kenny Wilson. Kenny, you've got a few questions, of course. They've been waiting for you.
I mean, I'm just loving listening to you. I think Harry, when Harry was at Olympic, I mean, we're going back with, Les and Marconi and Harry when he took over Olympic, and, back in what we call the good old days. It was a completely, I was thinking about it today. People obviously, the NSL ran its course and got tired. But for that first 77 to 84, when it was a true national comp, it was an amazing competition. And Les broached on it earlier on. Some of the players, I mean, when I arrived, Fitchbury just had 8 Red Star players playing for him. 8. And the players that Les had, when I think Eva Pascalo, obviously Tony Henderson, Gary Byrne, Roberto Vieri, I mean, it was Peter Sharn and Eddie Krenchevich, and it goes on and on and on and on and on.
And David Lowe,
Rod Brown, I mean, Marconi had a fantastic team. Raleigh at Adelaide City had Dixie Deans. He had, Jim Muir. He had, and Miskowitz for, I mean, it went on and on. Every club had massive, and I've not got to Sydney City Hakoah yet, Gerry. I mean, Johnny Stevenson, who I might add is coming back for a holiday soon. He's not been back for ages, so Gerry, you can let the Sydney City boys know that he's coming to organise a bit of a neutral. But Eddie Thompson, Johnny Stevenson, Joe Watson, Alex Robertson, Gerry, Jimmy Kahn. It just went on and on. And then Harry, after Olympic went to Wollongong, he was bringing, Alan Brazils and, I mean, the players that were coming, and sure, some of them were only coming here for 5 or 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks. But, and sure, they were at the end of their career. But they certainly put bums on seats.
Don't forget, Kenny, you were too young. You were still young. But in 1959, when Australia was not in FIFA, we had 7 Austrian internationals, Hungarian international Prague, Leo Baumgartner, Elvedinos, his brother, Ewan Ron Lord, Tony Schwartz, players. I mean, you'd never get them again. and we were not in FIFA, so we could bring players from Scotland, from England, everywhere. No transfer fee was paid, so the standard was good. But our competition in the moment leaves a lot to be desired.
I think the problem we've got is the younger generation haven't experienced what we experienced. So what they're seeing today is what they've sort of been brought up on, which is sideways and backwards. You know, there's a few teams that probably don't play that way, but the majority of teams tend to play sideways and backwards. And I keep mentioning that, you know, goalkeepers, majority of goalkeepers get more touches with their feet than what the centre forwards do.
Here we go.
Which is, you know, beyond me. But it is what it is, guys. You know, we've got to live with it. We've got to move forward. We've got to try and take the best out of what we've got. But I know under you or Ral or Rally, when I was playing, if I played the ball backwards when I could play it forward, you'd be clipping me around the back of the head. You know?
Yeah.
You're deadly serious. If you never played forward, you know, positively, and you played an easy sideway, but blank would have killed me, you know?
Oh boy.
Somebody, Kenny, recently told me that myself, Eddie Thompson, would be good enough to coach in the league now. I could do it on the wheelchair. I tell you why. Because we used to play with the sweeper, carrying our sweeper. You know what they're playing now? They play with two sweepers. And they play the ball from left fullback or left wing back to the centre back, to the other centre back, to the other fullback, and back again and back again. They're lacking skill. They're lacking their own initiative because the coach tells them, you must do this, you must do that. But they've got their head down 9 times out of 10. They get the ball 100 miles an hour. They don't see what's around them, right? They're blocking each other up. When you see somebody coming out of midfield and want to play with his striker, you show them the great player of football, show them the backside. You understand? Harry, you are not as you've been on this.
I tell you what, you're talking a couple of Greeks.
Because, you know, after when Harry went to Wollongong, obviously they won the league with Nick Theo. It'd be interesting to find out from Harry how he put that team with Nick Theo together. Because Wollongong came from pretty much nowhere, and that was an amazing, you know.
Kenny, I had to prove myself. I was always a Sydney Olympic supporter and really loved the club. When I went to Sydney Olympic and I put my ideas forward, they just didn't want to know about me. They thought I was there to take something away from them. I said, no. I said, I'm here to help. So I opened my mouth so wide as the mouth of Luna Park. And I had to prove myself then. So I went with the help of a Greek guy to Wollongong, and I said, I'm here, and I'm willing to take the club off you for a few years and prove a point, and then I'll give it back to you. And I did it. And we brought Alan Brazil, as you know, Paul Marina, Trevor Francis, Paul Keys, and a few South American boys. And we actually did extremely well. With the previous coach, before I appointed Nick, I think we won the minor premiership. Then Nick comes in, and we're having a meeting, Nick and Barry Mariani. And they said to me, now I'm taking you back to Sydney Olympic. We need to get this player from Melbourne, Kris Trajanovski.
Good.
I said, what? He said, he's Serbian.
No, he's not Serbian. He's not Serbian. Is that right?
Russian.
No. Macedonian.
Sorry. Kris. I know you love me, Kris, and I'm sorry. So I said, okay. I said, where do we meet him? He's waiting for us at the Melbourne airport tomorrow. If you send us there, we'll do a deal, $29,000. $29,000 to bring him to Sydney.
Wow.
Sydney Olympic had no money. I said, here's a check, give it to him, make sure he's here next week. We need to win. And the next thing I know, he comes to Sydney. Tom Dumanis, who I love so much, goes out and says, Mike, look what Harry's doing. It's destroying the club. Oof. And it tried to turn the whole thing into politics so I can get thrown out. I mean, this is the problem with football. We have the best coaches in Australia, which we're now starting to export. We have fantastic players, which we've been exporting for years. We have that great league, but we're not united.
and we got no television coverage either. You understand? Doesn't matter
Well,
what
let's
you
thank you for
say.
saying that. I can't say it because
I'm saying it because every time I put Paramount on, suddenly the signal goes out. You understand?
Well-
after 40 minutes. But I want to talk to Gerry Gomez for a second. Gerry played stopper for Sydney FC. I mean, Eddie Thompson, Steve O'Connor. You played with the sweeper, or you didn't play with the sweeper, but you played against players, one or two forwards against you. One of the fullbacks come in, but now we got the goalkeeper being a sweeper, right? And most teams you play now in a modern game that play against one striker only, and you got two stoppers. So automatically, one of the stoppers is a semi-sweeper. Think about it. So we were wrong, and what we taught our players. When I said to some of the players, once you have the opposition half, and you can take the fullback on, you must take him on. If you don't take him on, I take you off. Now, what I do is I come inside, the left-footed players, they come inside because they want to on the left foot, instead of getting behind them and getting the ball in between the goalkeeper and the defence running back. It's much harder job. But now, oh no, we're saying, we're closing people down. Yes, we're closing people down. Where do we close them down? In our own half? We got the East Berlin Wall. Whenever Tottenham Hotspurs plays against somebody, there's 11 players in the back waiting for Tottenham Hotspur to come. And most teams play it. So I was Kenny. I was on the Jocks team for 10 days. What a gentleman! At that time, Scottish reserve league was stronger than what we had in the.
Well, for me, I mean, obviously, I came from Rangers, and he's a Celtic, but he was an absolute legend, absolute legend. I mean, he's one of these. When you hear people like Graham Souness talking about him and Alex Ferguson talking about him, you know, he's held in the same esteem, even higher than someone like Bill Shankly, even Bob Paisley. He's a, an absolute god as far as football's concerned. And what people don't realise, Celtic in 1967 was the first British team to win the European Cup with 12 Scottish players. No imports, no English, no Irish, no Welsh, no Spanish, no Italian. 12 Scottish players. And one of them's here in Brisbane, Willie Wallace. He's still here.
Now let me bring on.
I didn't let what's his name Gomez say something about his stopper position. Do you believe that we played only with four straight defenders, or we had a semi-sweeper? Or is the game harder now than it was before? You enjoy the game better?
I'll start with. Yeah, go on, Gerry.
I've obviously playing with Eddie Thompson. I was playing centre back, and then when Steve O'Connor was another centre back, but we both had different attributes. I suppose I was quicker than Steve, so sometimes he would play behind me, or I'd play in behind him. But we were going forward all the time. We knew our job. It was very clear that the environments, we talk about all the teams in the NSL, and the environments at Marconi, the environments Sydney Olympic, South Melbourne, the two Croatian clubs, they were good hubs for young people to come through. We learned a lot from players that came from overseas, and that's how a lot of the future Socceroos were going to be made in those hubs, in the old NSL clubs. Whether you play, you have to learn quickly. Depends who you play against, as well as if you play against Marconi with Shani, with Jankovic and Krankovic, and Gerry playing those balls in the heart, you have to be reading the player and covering each other, and playing with a sweeper, And it just depends who you play against, But you have to learn quickly. That's what I'm saying. You have to communicate quickly and adjust, whether you play square, you play with a sweep behind, or two center backs marking two strikers. A lot of it, you just have to work it out quickly on the field.
You know the problem we got in the moment. National team or club teams, mainly national teams. We got a national coach, you got an assistant coach, you got another assistant, you got a psychologist, you got a physiologist, you got two masseurs, two doctors, you got about 15, 16 people up there.
Dietitian too.
And you see, when we were coaching, we had to be on the park with the players to see how is he mentally, can he read the game, does he know how to tackle, when to come into attack. So by having so many cooks, chefs, you got in the moment, it's not the same. You don't even feel the game as much as before.
Harry, I need to ask you, did Kris cash that $29,000 check, or has he still got it?
Oh my God!
Do you remember the $29,000, please?
Your club got it, Kris, yeah?
Oh my
How did we
God!
manage to get you from your club to Sydney? What happened there? Because I was told the last minute, as the president of the club, I said, we're buying him. I said, no problem. You know?
Those are great days, Harry, honest. When I arrived, 77, I wanted, we go to Nick's Chicks and pick our wages up. We'd go to the Cathalis hardware store and get our wages. But you know what? It was fantastic times, I've got to tell you.
I've got to tell you something, if I may, guys. Sorry, excuse me. But when I was the president for Sydney Olympic, I'll be in Brisbane. I'll be coming back. I go to the club. I want them to count the money for me and sign by 3 directors. The next one day, we have $65,000. The players always, every Monday morning, they go to Redfern, they wait in the queue to get paid. I gave to Harry, to one of my directors. I said, can you please make sure this money goes to the bank first thing in the morning, because the players will be queuing up. It didn't go.
Oh, he's disappeared.
It didn't. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
And you can't see
Okay,
it.
sorry.
You'll come back in a
Somebody
second.
try to ring me.
There you go.
But so what happened? I said, I get a phone call from the manager, bank manager. He said, Harry, there's all these players waiting here to get paid, but there's no money in the bank. I said, you're kidding. I sent $65,000. The money did not arrive.
Gee.
My director took the money because the club owed him the money. So the next day I called a meeting and I said, Mike, what happened to the money? He said, and he started taking little notes out of his top pocket. This for the canteen, this for the chickens, this for the whiskey, and it goes back 6 months. I said, Mike, you can't do that. The players have to get paid. So I had to come up with another 63,000 or 65 to pay the players and sort it out later. But there were fun days. Although we're making a lot of mistakes and we're unorganized because we're not used to that, we still had fantastic players, fantastic games, and very enjoyable.
Yeah.
A very attacking games, attacking.
It's funny you say that. In 1986, we finished the season and we didn't make the finals. We lost to Juventus. So I came to the club and I spoke to Eddie. I said, Eddie, when are we going to start pre-season? And he goes to me, well, you don't. I said, what do you mean? He says, because we sold you. I said, you sold me? Who did you sell me to? He said, we sold you to Marconi. When did you do that? I said, last week. You and Frank Farina are going to Marconi.
Gee.
We have no agents. And I said, so what do I do now? He says, well, you need to go and speak to Tony Rosetta.
Gerry, is that the time when Frank Lowy put the club out of the league?
Well, we didn't know the club was going out of the league.
Okay. There was an offer on the table, Gerry. From me, I arrived at his office with Eddie Thompson to buy the club for $300,000. As I arrived, they said, no, the club has already been sold. It's been given to Marconi, and they will take care of it. And then they broke up the players and they sold some overseas. I think, didn't Frank go overseas?
No. Frank came to us, and then John Paul Marino went to hope you like it.
Okay.
Colin went to Sydney Olympic and Papa went to St. George.
Okay. Hey, Gerry, there's one thing that
Listen, Harry, you're talking about players now. Everyone could play a proper ball, play a ball, can do something with the ball. Now we got runners, we got athletes. We go in the gym more, in the gymnasium more than we use the ball, which is a problem. You go to a training session, young boys or older ones, you have 45 coins on the park. Do you ever play with coins in the match? Or you play with hurdles in the match? I think we're going overboard there. Soccer is the most simple game. Unfortunately, we want to jump like the kangaroos over hurdles and things like that. No. And when we go to coaching course, they try to implement, every time they implement a certain system on the whiteboard, but they never take you on the field to show you really how soccer should be played.
Brian Clough famously said, on paper, his team was fantastic, but unfortunately the game's played on grass.
good line.
I need to bring Carlos on. Carlos?
Yeah, this question for Kris. You seem to be scoring freely all the time. Who are some of your idols and role models when you were playing in your younger days that you looked up and said, I want to be like this person? Kris?
Obviously, growing up in Geelong and watching Preston play as a kid, I used to watch Gerry Cole Gary Ward at Preston, and then I got to play with Warren. So they were quite obviously ex-Socceroos there, or a few. So good role models, and then that was quite a good experience.
Kris, you there? You're just breaking up a little bit. Kris, can you come closer to the phone if you can?
Yep.
And what did the Gerry Coles of this world teach you? Or what did you learn from them that you went, I'm going to put this into practice and make it my own?
Oh, probably, like I said, with Warren Spink and Anthony and stuff like that, that was, it was just a good environment to be around, especially at that time they were they were in the Socceroo squad, so probably Oscar Carino as a midfielder, probably one of the best players country's ever seen, I think. Just him feeding us, and it was a good experience, and just a probably good ground, just education from my point of view anyway, as an 18-year-old, so we had, like I said, 4 or 5 experienced ex-Socceroos, current Socceroos playing at the time, so it was just a good learning experience for me.
I want to bring on Les. I want to speak to Les about this because I think in the last few years we talk about Harry Kuehl coming into coaching, and wherever he's gone, Les, he's absolutely failed. I don't know what it is with him. He gets positions. He gets into coaching positions. Where is he going wrong here? Where is he going wrong with? Have you been watching him coach? Everywhere they sack him. He goes back to another club. They sack him again. He started in England. He's gone from the Marinos in Japan. What is wrong with him? What is going on here?
Harry, I don't think he could take it from Kuehl that he is a failure. He took on the wrong clubs in the first place when he started coaching in England, 2nd division or 3rd division. That wasn't the right environment. He was on the Postecoglou at Celtic, which helped him. Mm-hmm. But now he went to Japan after Postecoglou winning the championship, Kenny Muscat winning the championship. I mean, the team must go down. So he's at certain clubs in the wrong time. You understand?
Yes.
And I think if you give him time, allow him to get a bit create his own luck, I think he will do well because he was a great soccer player, had good vision, good shot, and he was easy to get on with. So I wouldn't discard him at all. But the problem is with coaching is simply you have to be at the right time under the right manager with the right club, right? And if you understand football, you learn every time, not only from the other coaches, you learn from players on the park, right? And you can help players. Now, how many coaches go on the park and pull the player away in a nice manner and say, listen, I like this, but I don't like this. Can we do it that way? Now, the coaches, what are they doing mainly is wanting to be friends with the players. You can't be friends.
Yeah.
You see, that's why they call me the boss, because I used to put my rules down, my regulations down, and Raul Blanco did the cleaning up. You know, whatever I wanted done, he used to do it for me. You understand?
Yes.
Or Victor Fernandez. So without a discipline, you can't have success. You understand?
Yeah.
And that's a problem in the moment. We have mollycoddle young players or players. You see, England, how much money do they get? How much money? I mean, when we were young, and Kenny most probably will tell you, Gomez, you will tell me, that we hardly had to pay our soccer bits, but we loved the ball. If you had a ball in the street, we were the kings, and if you got one, we were using it all day. Every time we even didn't go to school to practice with the ball. Now we got the best stretches, the best balls. We got mum to take us to soccer, and we don't want to practice. Now, how do you produce good players?
Harry, if I can answer this for Les.
Yes.
You talk about money. People should get paid big bucks if they can play the games, if they can put bumps on seats. Sky in England, they're paying over $6 billion around the world for the rights. And Sky, I think it's for Europe, and then you got other companies that come in for the rest of the world. They get paid, so they should reward the players, the people that put bumps on seats.
Yes.
Without that kind of play, you wouldn't be able to sell it. It would be like the A-League Australia.
Harry, I don't go against you there. But in Australia, what money the clubs got? How can they afford to pay $1 million or $10 million or $50 million per player? It's not why.
Well, they're trying to lift the game, but unfortunately it's not working.
Just give me one name, apart from you. Give me one name who's trying to get the game
Well, you're
ready.
very kind to me, Les. Thank you. That's why I wanted to come on to that
You owe
one.
me money, that's why I'm so kind to you.
I want to speak to Kris for a moment. Now, Kris, when you got recruited to Olympic, right? You got recruited from Melbourne, of course, from Melbourne. You're from Geelong, of course. You're from Geelong. But the thing is, you didn't start your career in the NSL until you went to Sydney. Is that right? So you knew what the standard was in Melbourne. When you went up to the NSL, how did you feel? As Harry brought you up there, how did you feel getting up there and the different standard of the NSL?
Oh, look, I was at Preston where I was in the NSL then.
Yes.
At Preston, and then obviously Harry under Bertie Marianne took me to Sydney Olympic, and it was probably a lot more professional with Bertie. I think he was very professional, and yeah, it was a different training compared to what I had in at Preston. So that was, yeah, like I said, and there was also some good players there, some ex-Socceroos, and yeah, it was a good environment to be in. Obviously, very volatile support.
No.
And being at Olympic, when you're losing, yeah, it's a different story.
And Carlos, so you got something for the boys?
Yeah, I got something for Kris. You scored many goals in your career, quite a few hat-tricks. Which goals brings you goosebumps? Because everything was perfect for you and just great memories. Which one? If you had choose the top three.
Oh, look, obviously for Australia in young Socceroos and against Egypt, that was a great moment. And also at Olympic, when I scored an equaliser in the 90th minute when we drew 2-2 against Sydney United. That was when the crowd came onto the field. That was a pretty good pretty good pick then. So at Leichhardt Oval. So yeah, there were a couple of good experiences there.
It was a full house too, if I remember.
Yeah, it was.
I was in the band directing, and you guys, and I thought I'll be the best president who's directing a game and won the competition, but we didn't. You guys let me down.
Oh, gee.
It'll be pretty good team, and we got to the finals, and I think we just ran out of legs towards the end. But it was like I said, Leichhardt Oval.
Brilliant.
It was atmosphere and big for a couple of years there.
And this is what I want to bring up here right now to Les as well. To Les now, Les, you were living in Sydney, you're coaching in Sydney, but every time, and also the problem here in Melbourne is still here, where we don't have the clubs, the standard of the clubs being professional in Melbourne, and that's the truth. But you know, the world of football was always Sydney, always Sydney. The majority of clubs came from Sydney. The passion was from Sydney, the NSL. And this is what I feel in Melbourne. We are losing a lot of things here, and we're still losing things in Melbourne here. The professionalisms of the club. But right now, they're starting to make a bit of a change here, where South Melbourne yesterday won 3-2 to Brisbane Olympic. If you watched that game, it was an amazing game. But let me say this, all year, and this year completely, South Melbourne have become a professional club. Their players do not go anywhere and work during the day. They train as professionals. They're playing as professionals, and to me, that's where it should be. Even though the NPL is the NPL, they're as professionals right now, being paid big bucks and they could go all the way to the Australia Cup, and also getting to you and telling you about the second tier competition. Now, your opinion on the second tier competition. Now, these clubs, some of these like South Melbourne, have put themselves in a position where they play the clubs professionally, the players professionally, and their standard has lifted. Now, what do you think of this second tier?
Harry, answer this. Harry, you I can see you're hungry to tell everybody.
Hold on, you're the boss.
This is a big one.
I'm the extra. But if you're asking for my opinion, Coach, I will tell you, don't waste people's time, don't waste people's money, don't embarrass yourself, don't expose yourself. Leave it alone. Make the A-League work before you're asking for any new ventures.
You can't afford two teams like that anyhow.
It's a joke. Leave it alone. Don't try to impress. Do what you know best. Leave it alone.
Harry, do you think that because some of these clubs are paying professional wages and having these guys train, they're training 2 times a day like an A-League club, 2 to 4 days a week, they're paying them big bucks. Now, do you think that the NPL should go this way as well? You think the NPL clubs should go this way? Because South Melbourne have.
Well, eventually, if you want to play with the big boys, you've got to change your style of coaching and everything. You've got to worry also about new coaches and more players. Your job on the APL is to produce players for the A-League. That's your job. And the A-League is to produce players for the world so they can earn some money. This is how I say it. Remember, I'm not involved, I'm an outsider. Gerry may be, or Carlo, or Kenny can tell us more. But this is how I say it. Carry on the way you know best, concentrate on the A-League, and forget the second tier. It's not going to work. Les, what do you think?
I definitely agree with you. It will not work because you haven't got enough experience or good players. As I say, I'll give the youngsters a chance. I was a youngster in 1957, 58, and Kari Arosh, after I run with the ball towards the opposition goal, he said, "Hey, stupid, don't run, give me the pass, give me the ball, I do something." You learn from better players, right? And what's happening in the moment is we can't afford 2 teams because we haven't got enough good players, right? And the youngsters, you only need 2 or 3 youngsters who deserve to be in any first grade side. If they deserve to be, then they should play. And the problem is we don't hire the proper coaches, the experienced coaches in Australia. There's plenty of them. It's a merry-go-round, one after another, get that job. But there's plenty good coaches in this country. But you must get a chance. But the only thing is, Harry, in all fairness, and I said to Gerry Gomez and Kenny Wilson, we have to get rid of all these markers and sticks. You understand it? Because the players get confused. They want to jump suddenly in the game. It's not good enough.
Can I just say about development, Les, here right now, and the boys should, and of course Gerry's doing development. Kris, you may be doing some development, I don't know, in Adelaide with kids, whatever. But let me just say one thing about this. To me, these guys who come and get a position as a coach, I look at them, guys who've never been in the game, and I've spoken to a lot of guys, a lot of coaches, and they're upset about this, how these guys are getting their way in getting coaching certificates very easily, and they've never had a position, they've all played the game, they're school teachers or whatever. But to me, when I see these guys, I look at them as instructors, not coaches, instructors, instructing the players how to play, which a coach is very different, Les. How do you look at coaches now coming in? I call them instructors. They're not full-on coaches, and that's how I look at it, Les.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. The ones who are instructing is mainly ex-school teachers.
Yes.
You name it, right? Even that try to get into national teams, right? Ex-school teachers. I think you need players who play the game. If they can teach, doesn't say that every player will be a good coach, but it will help to realize who is a good player, who is a bad player, what type of football you can play with these players. You also know what type of players to bring to the clubs, right? I don't need 6 central strikers to have a successful team. I need maybe 2 and 1 standby, and I need 5-6 midfield players and 5-6 defenders, and not all the same type of players. But too many coaches don't know how to put Humpty Dumpty together. They only copy those so-called instructors, the school teachers. And we had the same thing in Germany, and when Detmar Kramer was in charge, and he said to me, we had so many school teachers suddenly become Bundesliga coaches. They lasted 2 years and they're all gone. They should be instructors. Don't touch the clubs.
They're not real coaches. They're
That's
coming
my
here.
opinion. Kenny Wilson, speak up.
Yeah. Well, look, we've got an issue. I mean, going back to obviously the National Second Division, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago when this was muted, I think I was one of the only people that said there's no way this is going to happen. The reason it's not going to happen for me is that when you look at the New South Wales and pretty much only Victoria, you're only looking at 4 different games this season. The rest of the teams already play each other in the NPL. You're not giving them anything different. Apia played Marconi. Well, they already did that in the NPL. Olympic play Apia. Olympic play Sydney United. That's no new games. What Harry said earlier on, if it was me and Harry, I've said this a million times, I'd pick the 6 teams up, and it's not a permanent fix, and I'd drop them into the A-League. And you get an 18-team or a 20-team competition in the A-League. Forget these, whatever it was, $14 million, franchises, because the clubs are not worth that anymore. None of the clubs, Central Coast Mariners never sold for the franchise, the amount of money they paid for it. Newcastle certainly never sold for the amount of money they paid for it. Brisbane, you could probably pick up for a song. Perth were in the administration. So the franchise money is dead. Just forget about it. If you brought the 6 teams in, and I mean the 6 teams, say South Melbourne, Preston, Olympic, Apia, Marconi, say Sydney United, what it will do is it'll sort of give it a jumper lead for at least 2 seasons, because people will see something different. They'll get a little bit excited about seeing some different players, because we've just got the same player merry-go-round in this, going from, I've never seen so many clubs, so many players play for 5 or 6 different teams in the same competition.
Kenny, you will have a major problem selling the idea to the free-to-air networks. They already have a problem with our product, and unless you develop this product where you can actually show them that we have a future and we're bringing ratings to them and making money, they're not going to talk to you about it, Kenny. We have a problem. This is how I see it. The network, first of all, they don't understand our game. They need people in there who understand the game, promote our game 24/7, and also make stars from our game. Bring players on the morning shows where they can actually people can remember the name and recognize them when they walk down the street. We are missing that. We haven't got continuity or love from the networks that are paying us money.
Yeah, but Harry, in fairness, I agree with you. But Paramount paid us a pittance. You know, I mean, when you look at the net result of what Paramount gave us, it was a waste of time. And you know and I know, Paramount weren't interested in soccer or football. They were interested in getting, you know, people using the platform for movies and you know and I know that at the moment Paramount, the mother company in the US is going through all sorts of you know, horrendous difficulties. So don't be surprised if there's a culling of things that don't really matter, that are costing money.
Okay, Kenny, I agree with that, but there's one thing you got to remember. They need sport. All the networks need sport. Paramount and Channel 10, they're very lucky, and they don't realize it. They have one of the best sports, the sleeping giant. Very soon, whether it will be a year or 2 or 3, this game will take off. And Paramount will be sitting on a gold mine. They don't realize it to start promoting it. Except for the AFL, which is not an international game. And the AFL, the NRL, they're trying to push it. We're the only true international game. And the moment they realize this and they start loving it, we're going to fail. And they will fail with us.
You know, Harry, do yourself a favor. We are living in a dream in the moment. Now, have a look. They don't want the ball game. They don't want football. They do everything possible to keep us down. I agree with, we need television. We need to expose the good talents. We have to bring on television. But when you build a house, you build a foundation first. Put the foundation right. We haven't got a foundation. We haven't got a club there. We got nothing. You understand? We have to improve on that area. And I'm not that negative. We got the talent in this country. We got the talent with television. We got everything. But we have to win over the government. Why did Frank Lloyd sold the clubs there indirectly? Did he make us play on the big stadiums? We were not ready to pay the money for the big stadiums.
No.
Yeah, and it cost us money. We didn't even earn it.
Gentlemen, I say one more thing and I'll keep my mouth shut. You know, when we were doing so well and we had 10 million plus people watching Channel 7 with the Matildas, some people should have gone to the government and said, look what we can put. We can give you people and we can keep you in power. Take advantage of it. Give us SBS to become the football channel. Forget everything else. No one is watching.
And before you go on, Harry, also just remember this. When you were on SBS, right, there was only one channel. Now we have all the digital channels, more opportunities, and we still can't get it right. All these digital channels on SBS that we have. I mean, they're getting so many different sports. They're getting the Super League Rugby League from England live on the NITV. They're getting it on there, on SBS. They're getting all these sports on there, which they have so many different platforms now on there that we should have been watching this and nothing is happening, and we should be doing something about and I know you want to do something. I can't say too much. I know that.
Yeah, but the problem we've got, guys, and going back, and Harry's obviously more attuned to this than any of us, because he's been at the production end of last season and understands how the mechanics work. But exactly what he says, they don't understand the product.
They don't.
And if they don't understand the product, you can't present the product because you don't give it to the right people to present the product. So unfortunately, I mean, we've got a situation where it will only get worse instead of better.
Yep.
At the moment, I don't believe that Paramount Channel 10 should keep it. I think we need.
No one else wants it, Kenny.
That's the problem.
There's no room for us on any other network at the moment.
Let me ask the players. I want to ask Kris and I want to ask Gerry at the same time. Gerry and Kris, you guys get on there. Do you watch the game on Friday, on Saturday nights? Do you watch the game? Is there something appealing anymore for you guys to watch the game? You're both professional players, of course. Kris, I'll ask you first. What do you feel when you see the coverage now?
Oh, look, I just free to air games if I can. Like night work. But yeah, I do watch it. I'm just free to air. I don't have to pay Paramount now. But yeah, it's probably like it's not accessible to everyone. I think. like I said, I watch one game a week and that's it. If when I they should be showing every game, free and fair.
Yes.
I mean, the point that Harry made earlier on, and it's a great point. What they should be doing is, and we acknowledge that the Matildas is our flagship at the moment, regardless of whether we, what we think of women's football. They're our flagship as far as commerciality is concerned. If we use them and use them as the flagship and say, you've got to take the package. You've got to take Matildas. You've got to take the Socceroos. Yes. You've got to take the A-League. There's the package. Take it or leave it.
How is that possible? They sold everything out. They sold the Matildas out. They sold the Olympic team out. They sold the A-League teams out for peanuts. Now, how you can sell it now in a big way?
I think the Matildas. They still, even with the poor performance at the Olympics, I think we've still got some legs with that. I think that there is such a groundswell of people, for whatever reason. I've still not quite got my head around it, but the fact is they are our top rank.
The most important thing what we forgot, each and every one of us, until such time that we have relegation and promotion.
Yes.
The game will never improve. You understand that? So
I want to bring Carlos. You've been waiting for a while. Come on.
Look, I want to go on a tangent. I'm going to say I support the second division. It's worthwhile pursuing because the NPL as it is just tired. If we get the foundations right, the second division will provide more opportunities for players to play and get a chance to be discovered. And if you look at Olympic and Apia and Wollongong, they will have, don't know how they're going to do it, but assuming he goes ahead, they will have two parallel teams. One is the second division, first graders. The other is the under 23 squad like Sydney Dust, Newcastle Jets, the Wanderers, MacArthur. So I support the second division because we need to give young players more opportunities to shine and be discovered. And hopefully, early in the week, there was late last week, there was a meeting between FA and the Foundation clubs. The talks are still ongoing. I certainly hope that eventually we get the foundations right, we launch it, and people will embrace it because the NPL, I'm not sure about Victoria, I can't say about South Australia or Queensland, but I think Premier League New South Wales is tired and we need something new. But obviously the foundation needs to be right, but from a coaching point of view, giving more coaches a chance, players, Graham Arnold have said time and time again, our young players do not play enough. We need more games to become better players. The second division will give you that. Concurrently, you've got the under 23 development squads parallel. So
can I also, Carlos, will I just say one thing about this too? I've been doing some research as well, and all these, I've done a lot of research in the last few weeks, and Gerry should understand this too. You being a coach yourself, Gerry, of course you're coaching kids and whatever. And my point is this. What are the kids looking for in the future? Because I'll tell you something about the NPL, right? And this is what's happening right now. To me, you're spending maybe $500,000 a year for the players, you're paying the players. What's the return in actually getting something back as you are a champion team? You've won the final, you won $40,000. Is that for real? Is that for real? Gerry, what do you think of that? I mean, to me, what is it? Every club loses. Every time they win a final, they lose, Gerry. What was it like in the NSL with you guys? I'd like to know.
One thing I say here, we're all passionate.
Yes.
We all love the game. We want the best. We don't play anymore. I'm involved in coaching in the grassroots. And, I see a lot of young people that they don't know where to go. Mm-hmm. They get lost. In the days of the NSL, we had young good players coming through to play in the All National League, and they become young Socceroos, creatures of those. I don't see that very often now. I don't see that the kids have a clear pathway to get to play in the A-League. That's what I see.
Gerry, the problem is that we've turned our game into the basically, you know, the I suppose the core talented players predominantly come from, you know, when I say third world, I mean low demographic families, and unfortunately we've turned the game into the kids. It's the ability for the parents to pay rather than the ability of the kids to play. And unfortunately, we're funding from the bottom up, and it's been happening for a long time now. And if we continue that way, nothing will change. If we don't get to a point where our kids... I'll give you a point. When I came to Sydney Olympic in 77, out of the starting 11 that we had, 9 of us were 19. 9 of us.
Yeah.
So this age, you know, nonsense about, you know, the opportunity would be there if these parents weren't having to pay these enormous amounts of money for these kids to have to play. You know, I mean, it's frightening. I mean, even at local, at grassroots. I mean, my grandson, you know, I'll not name the club, but they play under sevens, $3,500. Seriously, I'm sorry, guys. They can go and take a flying to themselves. You know, really. You know, kids should be able to play predominantly for free to a certain level, and then when they get to, you know, specialised coaching, I get that. But none of this nonsense, like someone mentioned earlier on. We've got 15 and 16-year-old kids coaching our kids and charging, and never played the game.
That's right. What I said before.
It's horrendous.
Did your father and mother take you to the game? Did they give you new boots every 6 months?
No.
Did they pay for you to be picked in a Mercedes to the game? We used to go by bike.
Walk me out. I had a paper round to get money to be able to get the bus and buy myself boots.
And these young players, once they finish training twice a week, they leave the ball in the corner. They don't practice no more.
But just a point I want to make about these kids not getting picked up. It's because of our structure. You know, when I was a kid, I went to Manchester United in the school holidays. I went to Ipswich Town. I went to Wolverhampton. I went to Rangers. Every school holidays, these clubs grabbed me through a scouting system and brought me there to look at me for 2 or 3 weeks. Consistently. We don't have a scouting system in this country at all.
No.
I mean, what is Tony Henderson and John Stoddarts and Gerrys and, you know, what are these players? We're not utilising them all. None of them. You know, I mean, Gary's in the system, but Jimmy Campbell's and, you know, there's so many.
You forget one of the most important things, you have to be able to use the computer. You don't have to be That's the problem.
Kris, I want to ask you, Kris, when you started playing, how much did you must have gone back there and known what your parents were actually paying for you as a junior to start playing. What was the price at the time? Do you know?
It wouldn't have been playing growing up. It wasn't. It wouldn't have been much. You know, the local Macedonian club, and then, like I said, I went on Melbourne. Went to Cross.
Come closer to your phone, Kris. Come closer to your phone.
Went to George Cross in under 15, and my dad used to drive me on a Friday. I used to stay over at the coach's house with his son. And, you know, and I did that for a whole year, you know, but price-wise, I couldn't tell you what it was, but I know these days it's just, you know, like so much money, and it's only, like I said, growing up, most of the players came from, you know, they didn't come from money. Nowadays,
it's money.
Money.
It's business.
You know?
I think another important thing we forgot to mention, and I blame Frank Lowy for this. What about the Institute of Sport in New South Wales, in Victoria, in Perth? And I used to go there once every 2 weeks to see each side and work with the better players and with the better coaches. We had a pathway. so the national coach knew these were the best talents, right? We got nothing now. What have you got? Take him to coaching course? Come on.
So what happens? What happens to single mums that have got kids that can't afford to pay these massive fees, or single fathers, or low demographic families, and predominantly, kids that are coming from Africa and South America, they're in the low demographics, even though we've got a great lifestyle here, but, if you've got 3 or 4 kids and you've got one income coming in, you can't be buying boots, you can't be paying, SAP fees, especially when your kids get great ability, natural ability. That should be, that's the one thing AFL do brilliantly. AFL did brilliantly.
That's what we should check out. How much do they give to the AFL? The government? How much do rugby?
You know how much they pay?
How much is soccer?
Let me tell you how much they pay in the AFL here for the kids all year to play. $200. $200. That's it.
But
$200.
Harry made the point earlier on, and it's one of the greatest points for her. We have got the biggest participation sport in the country, and we don't use it as a voting power with political parties. And he's spot on. If we had unity, Victoria and New South Wales, if we all got together and said, look guys, we can put you in power, because we could.
Exactly.
But we don't do it. We don't use our strength, unfortunately.
Guys, we're going to cut it short because somebody has to go to bed too at the moment. I know Carlos has to go to bed. Let me ask the coach here, Les. Now, Les, the boss, let's just say hypothetically, if you had an opportunity to coach again, would you coach the Matildas?
Let's put it this way: I never coached the Matildas. I don't think my German temperament would allow me to coach the ladies.
I can imagine how hard it would be.
You understand? I would be very difficult. I can give them advice, but the coaching would be a different story. What's her name? Kenny Wilson could.
Kenny, here you go. Kenny, please.
I'd get in too much trouble, man.
That's the thing, guys.
I'd last a week. I'd be gone.
So this is an amazing evening. Everyone watching tonight, guys. I tell you what, thank you all you guys for coming on tonight. And of course, we should.
Good to see him, Harry.
Who's Harry? Which Harry? I'm going to sing again. I want to sing again. The thing is, you can't hear the music. You'll hear the music after.
Michael, put it all together. Come on.
You'll hear the music after the show. The thing is, that's the thing. Oh boy, guys. Honestly, let me just say, in the last few weeks, we've had so many Socceroo. Of course, Kenny's seen a few little things there, and Carlos seen a few things in the last few weeks. So this is another small reunion with, of course, they're more like an NSL reunion, a Socceroo coaches reunion. And next week we're going to have some more Socceroos online again. And thank you for coming on. It's raining Socceroos, guys. That's what we're going to do. Promote our game. Whatever we can do every week on this show, we will do it. Sponsors PC and FS Logistics. Thank you for sponsoring. There is only one football, of course. CC Lawyers, Carlos Bielli. Thank you, gentlemen, tonight for joining me on Football List. Another big show next week.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
guys. Thank you, boss. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys. Don't forget, next week, it's happening again next week. And I tell you what, guys, an amazing show tonight. And of course, don't forget, guys, it's on again next week at 8 p.m. Monday night. It's all on. Thank you, Coach, for coming on. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Kris. Thanks, everybody, coming on, guys. Thanks, guys. I'm singing right now. Here we go. Hey! Don't forget, guys, PC and FS Logistics, international shipping and distribution goods throughout Australia. There is only one football. CC Lawyers, the lawyers that come to you, guys. Thank you, Les, for coming on. Thanks, Les. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Hey! Feel it. Hey! The cup of life. This is the one. Now is the time. Don't ever stop. We should've known, gotta be strong. We should've known, right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. No one can hold you back. Good night, guys. Thank you for joining me. What a great show tonight, guys. It'll be up very shortly, and you can see it again, the replay. But next week, it's going to happen again. Monday night, 8 p.m. Join us for the Socceroos reunion again. Here we go. Hey, here we go. Joining me next week, guys. Good night. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Hup.